Welcome to the first in the new series where I sit down and have a chat with some Lotus personalities. And for the first one, I've someone who will be no stranger to any Lotus enthusiast or anyone who's been on a classic Team Lotus or factory tour at Hethel. My old mate, Richard Parramint. So it's over to me and Richard at home of classic Team Lotus for a bit of a chat. So, Richard, hello.
Hello.
How are you?
Great.
Good. Thanks for arranging this little shoot down at this place. Classic Team Lotus. I mean,
Couldn't be any better, could it?
for me, a die-hard Lotus
Because this
fan,
is not a backdrop. This is the real
this
thing.
is the real thing.
Look.
This is the car that Senna drove.
Is it?
That's what it's got his name on it.
Goodness.
So I'm hoping it is.
So you do the tours here?
No, I think you do.
Oh, I
those.
do the
You do it
tours
much
here.
better than me.
Okay.
But yeah, I mean, it's a big privilege for me, and it's an honour really just to be sitting here amongst all this Team Lotus history. It's just
And being here with me is
well, of course,
big
that
privilege.
goes without saying. Of course, it does. Anyway, Rich, shall we move on?
Yes.
You can blow your own trumpet as much as you like, mate. We're all listening. So you, like me, have worked across the road at the factory.
Yes.
I started in 1987 in November on the 2nd. Not that I remember it much. You started a little bit earlier, I believe. Can you tell us when you started at Lotus and why did you start at Lotus?
Oh, goodness. 68. Latter part of 68. I think I left school on the Friday and joined Lotus on the Monday. Lotus fan, elder brother John and Tony both worked at Lotus in Cheshunt. So for about 2 years, they commuted backwards and forwards from Norwich to Cheshunt.
It was a bit of a journey, wasn't it?
Oh.
In them days?
That was a shit because the A11 wasn't like it is now, dual carriageway.
I remember
You had to go
it, I
through all the
remember.
little villages.
Yes.
So Royston, Baldock, Newmarket, Thetford, Adelborough, was through the main streets.
Yeah.
And that was
Yeah.
yeah. So we've been a Lotus family since 65 when John and Tony joined. And then when they moved up from from Cheshunt to Norwich, because all the lads down there didn't have anywhere to go, because in those days everything closed in Norwich at 5:30, 6 o'clock. So they were knackered really. There was nowhere for them to go. So they used to come round my mum and dad's.
Yeah.
And my mum would make them sandwiches or give them a Sunday lunch. So our place became a bit of a hub. And brother John's best friend was Roger Becker.
Oh, really?
So Roger asked John if he could get him a job at Lotus.
Is that so?
Yeah,
Really?
so we've been around Lotus for a number of years.
Yeah. So you kind of joined on the family tradition and ended up on the line?
Yep, went on the line. I was building a land. Well, because there was union problems when I first. Well, a few months later, I was on the line building Europas first of all. Then you get moved. They moved around.
Yeah,
I went
yeah.
to plus twos.
Yeah.
Then the lands, and then I finished up on what was then, I don't know what it's called now, but rectification.
Yeah.
So what would happen? The end of the line, the cars would, Alistair McQueen would take them out and test drive round the track,
Yeah.
do a snag list, and we'd have to rectify the
Yeah.
cars from there. Yeah.
Yeah. That's interesting. I mean, some of my experience of when I first came to Lotus, I've been in the motor trade since 1971 as an apprentice. I came up to Lotus in 87 and it's the first time that I'd seen a factory like Lotus. But to me, being a grassroots mechanic, to go to somewhere where they're building brand new sports cars, especially Lotus's ones you love, I was like, wow.
Yeah, I was
Fantastic.
the same. It was a dream. And I say on my tours, when I first joined, I remember walking in, because it was a fairly new factory now, it was only 2 years old.
Yeah.
And the lights were bright, and I saw all these sports cars, all these Lotuses coming down the line. It was like a dream come true.
Yeah.
It was just so exciting. And but then you just get fed up working on the assembly line, because I really wanted to go into Team Lotus, because that was my passion. But I'm not a spanner man, right?
No.
And I'm thinking the only other thing I can do there is be a Formula One world champion.
Well, how did that work out then?
Didn't work out.
Ah, shame.
And I think Colin Chapman's fault, because he didn't actually. If he'd have seen me driving my little Mini through the lanes to Hethel, he'd have said, "Shit, Formula One champion, get him signed." Never saw me. His loss, because I'm built for it.
Well, of course.
Wouldn't you say?
Oh, absolutely, mate.
Got the looks.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, yeah. You got the lip as well. So
what?
You'll be all right on that.
Oh, well, oh, yeah, I thought you meant these.
No,
oh, okay. Oh, yeah, right.
So talking about Colin Chapman, mate, what's your memories of the old man then?
We didn't see too much of him in the factory.
He never came down to the line a lot.
Occasionally, if there was a VIP walking through, and the old man would be with him, but I was always told whenever he came in the factory that the word would go out, the old man's in. So you'd dive under a car and you'd pretend you were doing something, because if not, you'd either get a bollock for standing there doing nothing, or he'd march you out and sack you. But we did develop on the line. The washer, we did fix some washer, the washer bottle, electric washers. We fitted one of those on the bottom shelf of one of the work surfaces, one of the benches. So if there was sort of VIPs coming through, we had a switch and soak them as they walked, and they'd be winning it. But you wouldn't do it. You wouldn't do it with the old man. He'd have gone ballistic.
Would you say he was a bit ruthless?
Yeah, oh, for sure.
Yeah.
I probably knew him. I met him probably more when I'd left. I think what was the first? Because I went in the office equipment business, and there was one time the company I worked for had a license to sell a special shredding machine, a mini shredder, compact shredder, and because we were the local agent, any inquiry that went into the head office was sent down to our company. And there was one that came through for Team Lotus, wanted one of these personal shredders. And because Lotus was on my patch, my boss called me in the office, and Team Lotus have ordered one of these. You take it down and make sure you get the money, because Lotus never paid, 6 months, 9 months. And my boss says, if you don't get the money and you leave that, you haven't got a job when you come back. Yeah. So I go down to Ketteringham Hall, lunchtime, nobody there, but I could hear somebody working in a back office. So I knocked on the door and a voice said, "Come in," and I knew exactly that was the old man. Yeah. I thought, shoot. So walked in, and of course Colin Chapman was sitting there, and I said, "Oh, Mr. Chapman, I bought a shredder." "Yes, I know exactly. Put it down there. Thanks for bringing it." And I said, "I'm really sorry, but I've got to take a check back for it." "No, I'll pass your invoice on to our accounts department and they'll pay you." Yeah. And I'm thinking to myself, what the bloody hell am I going to do here? Because I can hear my boss's voice, "If you don't come back with money, you're sacked." And I said, "Look, I'm really sorry, Mr. Chapman. I've got to take a check back." I said I'd get our account department to send you a check. And at this point, I'm almost messing myself, because, he was quite aggressive. Yeah. I said,
I suppose he was quite intimidating.
Oh, yeah. Well, see, also the trouble was he was a hero of mine.
Yeah.
He would, what am I going to do? And I said, "Look, Mr. Chapman, I'm really sorry. My boss has said I can't leave without a check." And he was getting redder and then going blue. And I can't say what he said, because this is going out. He said, and he got his checkbook out, and he ripped the check and he threw it. Now go. "Thanks, Mr. Chapman."
Can I keep this as an autograph?
I should have done. Yeah. I should have done. Then few years later at Snetterton, again, the circuit was one of my office equipment customers. Yeah. So they'd always give me a call when Lotus were testing. So he called me up, we got Team Lotus booked in. So I shot straight down there. Drove, you've been to Snetterton, and you go through the gates, over the bridge, and there was a little hut there, and I went straight over the bridge and down, and ran to the paddock, and I saw the big Team Lotus transporter there, and all the mechanics suddenly circled around this car. And I got out, and I sort of started to walk down there, and I saw this chap walking towards me. That was the old man.